Any other reflection as people see these ideas for selection criteria? We'll see if this is, you know, how much of this is virtual and how much of this is face-to-face. Wouldn't it be amazing if we actually had a face-to-face advisory committee meeting sometime during the life of this project? But probably for starters, we won't. Okay, well, thank you. This is good. A good start for us to think about designing that selection criteria. And in a moment, we'll give you more information about what the process will be to get us to form that advisory committee. Ruth, do you want to make some comments about the principles?
Sure. So I've just organized it according to votes, and I'm going to take a little bit of different approach because there are so few. I will go through them. So we start, I think, kind of highest, most kind of resonating guiding principles that we are learning from past mistakes. And we've heard kind of some other comments around reflecting on our history earlier in today's conversation, but evaluating what did not work in past years with different waves of immigrants, I think is something that the committee can take in and think about moving forward. To be respectful, inclusive, open, and transparent, and we hope kind of the collaboration model we presented to you today will be, is a good start to that, including kind of the ongoing feedback that we're going to be collecting from community throughout the process. Risk-taking comes up as the next highest in an accountable manner. And I actually wanted to get some clarification around what that means. And if whoever posted, the owner of that post might be willing to do that. Great.
That would be me. And what I was trying to tell us is, in the simplest way, you know, not to continue to go back to our comfort zones, not to continue to go back to the old ways, but to be willing to take risks with new approaches, new methods, but as long as we are not completely blindsided and fall flat on our face. So we do want to take risk-taking, but we want to do it in an accountable way, which keeps us moving forward and not continue to look back. I think sometimes when we look too much at the back, we fail to move forward. So I would say, in due respect to my colleagues who have said, you know, learn from mistakes. Yes, we want to learn from mistakes, but we do not want to continue to dwell on those mistakes, because otherwise we are not putting our creative minds on what we need to move with in the future. So learn, but put that aside as mistakes that we have learned from. Let's not continue to say we've done this, let's go back. So risk-taking in a manner which allows us to use creative, you know, methods, approaches, initiatives, but which ultimately gets us to the outcomes that we would like to see. That was my understanding with that particular term.
Thank you, Arsha, I appreciate that. So looking back, but also keep moving forward in innovative ways and accountable ways. I really appreciate that. I would like also some, just because in case folks aren't familiar with the acronym, the owner of the ARAO principles, to speak to that.
I think that would be Rahim. Rahim, was that you?
Surprisingly,
Marsha,
no.
I did put on the
Please,
ARAO
go for
principles.
it.
And it is the anti-racism, anti-oppression principles, looking at the complexity of newcomers from different countries that come in, and the principles behind it. I think that's what I had in mind.
Yeah. Thank you. And so then we'll move on a bit faster through kind of the balance of the sticky notes. Of course, we want innovative thinking, relevance and customization for newcomers, communities in the region. That is also an important one. And ensure inclusion of all IRCC funded program areas. And I think that kind of also informs somewhat in terms of membership for our advisory committee, where we're looking at both IRCC funded and non-funded potentially in terms of membership. Dream big, but remain pragmatic. Wonderful. realistic and practical again, transparency, open sharing of IRCC data. How much financial support does Toronto get versus Peel? Very good. Ongoing concurrent and transformative assessment, listening to diverse perspectives, collective thinking, local outcomes driven, knowledge sharing to dissemination, and local needs might be different from national needs. So I want to, now that we've been through them, ask if there's anything here that surprises people or anything that anyone wants to comment or emphasize, or anything that's missing.
So I think one thing that I would like to sort of add is that we have a culture, a working culture that is mindful, respectful, and values all voices, whether in agreement or in disagreement. And there are bound to be moments when we will respectfully differ from each other, but I think to keep the project objective in mind as we work together.
Great, wonderful. Any other additions or comments on post exist there already? Is this a good start for us for the advisory committee? Great. Then I'm going to stop sharing for 1 minute just so I can toggle screens and go back to our presentation. I do want to give Jessica or Rich a chance to put any last comments or wrap up around the two boards while I do that.
I'll just give one overarching kind of comment, you know, across the boards, and not surprisingly, given the configuration of people who are in this forum, the sense is that I'm getting is that make sure that this project is grounded in the community, in all of its diversity and all of its creativity. That grounded in community means who you are, who you have been, so that backward looking and honoring that, but also it means looking forward, right, and having that creativity that is amongst this crowd here and amongst others in Peel region. So that's the one kind of overarching takeaway I'm hearing is make sure that this project is grounded in the community in all of its creativity and diversity. Jessica, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, and just you know, I echo that, and also hearing about transparency and that people will want to hear about this project at various levels of engagement. So that's another key piece moving forward. So we'll definitely have opportunities for sharing as we go.